Okay, we're going to do some proofs using the triangle congruence properties that we've already learned. Side, 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 and angle, side, angle. Let's fill in some of the steps that you're going to use when you do a proof. Using the information given, you need to label your picture. In a geometry proof, there's always a picture with something given and then something to prove. So just always label your picture using tick marks. The first statement in your proof should be the first given, and the reason should be given. So that's kind of the easy way to start your proof. Then you're going to deduce all possible information from that given until the congruency is reached. And for this section, we are just looking at side, 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 angle, side, and angle, side, angle. So if you've used up all three of your givens and you don't have three congruencies, you need to look for reflexive or maybe a pair of vertical angles. And we'll be doing that with the first one. And then once you find it, you're going to have one of the three choices: side, 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 angle, side, or angle, side, angle. And then your last statement should be your proof statement, and your reason should be one of those three. Just for now, we're going to do some different ones in the following sections, but today we're just going to work with those three. Okay, let's start with the first one. In your proof, there's always a statement side and a reason side, and it's kind of the first thing you should do is mark your picture. So put one tick mark on AD and one on AB. Put two tick marks on DC and one on BC. Now those are the two given, so that's what we start with. AD under the statement side, you're just copying the given information, so you get to write the reason is given. And then DC is the same as BC, so again you get to write given. Now we don't have three yet, we only have two, and remember in side, 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 or even side, angle, side, you have to have three congruent statements. This is actually called the reflexive property. Because AC is a shared side for both triangles, we can say that AC is the same as AC, and that's called the reflexive property. That's your reason. And then because we now have three congruents, we can prove it by side, side, side that the two triangles are congruent. And I'm just going to copy what I'm proving. You really already have it on your paper. See how you're just copying what you were proving in your proof. The only thing we had to add were the tick marks for the reflexive side that was shared by both triangles. Okay, let's go to one that's a little more complex. Look at this next one. This one, let's tick mark some of the things we have. We have angle 1 and 2 are given. I'm going to draw a little tick mark on each of those. And then the word bisect means that it cuts it in half. So if you look at the angle DAB, and because this is a bisector right here, we know these two sides are the same. We can also tick mark the shared side. So on these first three lines, I'm going to write all three of those congruent statements. I'm going to start with the given. AC bisects angle DAB. So that's your given. Now let's go ahead and put definition of bisector. I want you to understand that on this one, to get the congruent statement, if we're going to define what bisector means, an angle bisector, we're going to have to name the two congruent angles. So it's angle DAC and angle BAC. Those, we were able to tick mark those with two tick marks because of that word bisector. Now 1 and 2, that was just already given to us. Sometimes you get to use the word given more than once if there's more than one given. So right now we still don't have three congruence statements, so we got to keep looking at it. Remember when we marked AC congruent to AC? That's called the reflexive property, and that means now we have, see our 1, 2, 3, we have three congruent statements. look at your picture the way you tick marked it. You have one side included between two angles. So the side included has to be angle, side, angle. And then we get to just copy our given statement that ABC, we proved that they're congruent by angle, side, angle. So you're just copying what you were proving. Just remember, you can't write prove. There's no such thing. You can put given, but you can't write prove as a reason. You have to explain which of the triangle congruents work. Alright, we have two more to do. Let's look at angle 3. You always copy the given, seize the midpoint of BD. So look at the picture. BD goes from here down to here, C's in the middle, so that means you can tick mark it. Now this you can write given, but the tick mark BC and the CD congruence, the reason I know that is the definition. You can put definition of midpoint. Now let's see, C is the midpoint of AE, and that's a given. So on this one, AE is all the way up, so this means if C is in the middle, that AC is congruent to CE. And that's called definition of midpoint too. Okay, I don't know if yours has this. Just mark these out if it does. These, I don't think those are supposed to be there. Okay, you only have two congruent statements, BC and CD and AC and CE. And on this one, you can't just mark A, B, and ED. Even though they look congruent, you just cannot mark those because that's not a given. That's not a given information. The things that you can assume are vertical angles and shared sides. So this one has the angle vertical here and this one here. And that you can define as a vertical angle. And when you have vertical angles, you can name them congruent. So BCA and ECD are congruent angles because they're vertical. See how now we have 1, 2, 3 congruent statements. This one we have the included angle between two sides. So this one's side angle side. Your last statement is why they're congruent. So your statements are on the left side, your reasons are on the right. We've proven that these triangles are congruent and we used side angle side. Alright, let's try one more. This last proof has two things given. If you don't remember this little symbol right here, this means parallel. So if you wanted, oh, that's where the H goes. If yours doesn't have it, put an H right here and an F right here. Mine didn't have that on there. I think it just didn't run off right, but that's H and that's F. Alright, let's start with the given. HY is congruent to LY. That's a given. I would mark it, HY and LY. You know what? I put the H in the wrong place. Let me fix that. Go ahead and fix it. I'm sorry. I didn't read this right. This right here is an H, and this side is the F. I knew something was wrong because it was saying the same triangle. So HY and LY are the same. I hope you had a pencil. You're going to have to take this off. That shouldn't be there. We don't know that. Now, because we know that these lines are parallel, that I'm going to put an arrow. This is not a tick mark, it's an arrow. So draw a little arrow to show parallel. Now, when you have parallel lines, you have alternate interior angles. So we know that these two angles are alternate interior. Let me think. You know what? We're not going to be able to use that one. We're going to have to use this one and then these vertical angles. So even though we know these, I'm sorry, I'm kind of making a mess on this one. I didn't mean to, and I'm going to explain why I'm whiting this out. We could mark those because these lines are parallel, but that's not going to help us. If you remember, you know, we're choosing from side, 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 side angle, and side angle side. And when you think about those three choices, you kind of have to look at your picture. And on this one, if we have parallel lines, we can name angle L and angle H. So you do need to go ahead and say that in your steps, even though you're repeating it, you need to put that given statement. I'm going to go ahead and put both of them. And because of the parallel, we know that angle L is congruent to angle H. Those are called alternate. I'm going to go ahead and write this one out. Interior angles. And that's what you learned when you learned about parallel lines. The one that I marked in the middle are vertical angles. The vertical angles, we do have to use 3 letters, so we're going to use H, Y, W and F, Y, L. That would be the 2 that are vertical angles. And I want you to notice why I marked off that other one that I used on the parallel line. That would not have, we can't, if we had just marked this one, it would be an angle and a side, but see how the side's not between the 2 angles? Your side has to be marked between the 2 angles to be able to use angle, side, angle. So that's why I changed what I was going to do to solve this one. I could not use 2 sides not including, 2 angles not including the side. So now we've proved WHY and FLY. I may have confused you on that one, but I hope not. You can come talk to me if you don't understand.